Hello everybody, it's GirlGotGame, and welcome back to Gilded Shadows. Now, contrary to the handsome young man on the screen, it is not his route that we're doing, but rather Magnus Ulrich's that we're starting today. So, we're going back to Endgame, but we're here because we're taking a choice that we have not done in any of the routes so far. So, I'm pondering something. I'm pondering something very serious, but before I get to that, the traits that I have picked for Morgan this time is confident, flexible, and emotional. So that's what our girl's dealing with this time. Because we're picking a different choice here with Ruben, I swear, if by some means we run into Magnus just wandering the streets and he's like quote-unquote incognito, and all he's done is like wearing a pair of sunglasses, I will ascend out of my chair and fly off into the night. Okay? So I want you all to be aware of this. If I run into him and he's like, yes, my name is Martin and I'm here to buy tangerines. Nice day we're having. I will. So, there you go. I'm on the record now. Okay, so Ruben, I'm really sorry, but I'm actually really busy right now, and it's not your turn, so you gotta wait. Here we go. Actually, I did have some important errands that I need to get out of the way right now. I was planning to come in for a statement later this afternoon already. If the case has been handed over to your department, I can come give a statement at whatever location you prefer. But right now is a bit...
Of course. I understand. I'll send the details to you right now. I'm sorry to bother you. We have a temporary space we're using while we're in town, so I'd prefer to have you stop by there. I know the incident yesterday must have been harrowing. We would like to catch the culprit as quickly as possible.
I understand. I don't wish to hold up your investigation. I'm not sure my statement is going to add much more to what you've already seen on the recordings, but as soon as I'm finished with my morning errands, I'll come by.
Alright. Thank you, Miss Leone.
He held out a hand, and I hesitated for only a brief moment before I shook it. He smiled pleasantly before he waved and headed off. I received the address for his office through the net a few seconds later, and, with great reluctance, scheduled myself in for a few hours from now. I wasn't terribly thrilled with having been confronted with that as soon as I left my building, but at least he hadn't been pushy. Accepting an afternoon appointment was probably more than I would have gotten from others. Still, it would have been nice if I'd been allowed to get my mind off things for just a little while. But I guess I should make the most of the few hours I had before my appointment. Okay. Do we skip, or is this is all new? Okay. All new. After that, I'd gone to the grocer to get enough food to last a few days, so I wouldn't have to leave my flat again for a while. Most of that was set to be delivered later in the day. I had only one little bag with me when I left. Since my afternoon was booked, and I didn't actually know how long the whole statement ordeal was going to take, I decided to stop by for lunch at a nearby cafe that was fairly close to home. They also had a lovely open-air seating area. I'd spent far too many afternoons there studying, so I knew the menu by heart. I soon found myself seated with a cup of coffee as I waited for a light lunch to be delivered. Sounds wonderful. It was a beautiful day, and I was regretting that I hadn't brought a book with me. Of course, I could always hunt one down on the net and read in my head, but I hated that blank, drooly look people got on their faces when they read that way. Instead, I just leaned back in my seat and watched the traffic passing by. Hopefully, after giving a statement, I could put this entire thing behind me and just never think about it again. I didn't even notice the man approaching my table until he slammed into it, toppling the bag of fruits from the grocer. The jolt sent several tangerines! Why tangerines of all things? I was joking in the intro about tangerines. Rolling across the table towards the edge. Corvin, is that you? Corvin, did you just run into me? Grab your things. You okay? Buddy? Subtle Magnus is subtle? I'm squinting so hard right now. Are you okay? I jumped up as the man crouched in front of me. For a moment, I thought he'd really hurt himself. Okay, he's not wearing sunglasses, but there are tangerines. Okay, technically he's not there for tangerines, but the fact that he has a tangerine in his hand is killing me. I'm dying. Okay, I half ascended. If there was sunglasses in this picture as well, I would have just died. I would have been gone. Alright, we're starting off well. But no, he raised his head, smiling at me as he held up one of the fallen tangerines. I started to take it from him, pausing slightly as I stared down into his blue eyes. Why does he look so familiar? You might have seen him on the net, on the news, or something. How strange. I knew we'd never met before. I definitely would have remembered him. And yet, I also couldn't shake the feeling I'd seen him somewhere before.
I don't mind being stared at by such a lovely lady, but it's a little embarrassing when I'm down on one knee like this.
Well, we'll see if you're still singing the same tune at the end of your route, eh? It's interesting, because I love that he's actually doing some groundwork, if you will. He's not alone in his tower, so he does break the rules occasionally.
It feels almost like I'm proposing.
With a tangerine, no less. That is an interesting shirt you got going on. I like it, because he's like wearing all black, because usually we see him all in white, right? But he's got an all black look going. Pretty cool. Heat flooded my face at the realization of just how long I'd been staring. I snatched the tangerine from him and turned away. Sorry! I'm sorry. I fumbled all the spilled fruits back into the bag. The man let out an amused laugh and stood up, dusting himself off. I gave him an embarrassed smile. It's just that you reminded me a little of someone else. I was trying to... He leaned close suddenly, placing one of his fingers firmly to my lips.
Hearing you say I remind you of another man isn't going to make me happy, I'm afraid.
My face instantly heated up again, and I jerked away from him, swatting his hand away. He just chuckled again. I'm glad he finds me amusing.
Did I make you angry? What a cute way of blushing you have.
I sputtered indignantly, not even sure how to respond to that. I wasn't blushing. You kinda are, though. What was with this guy? I'll fight him.
Oh dear. I haven't even introduced myself, have I? How silly of me to forget.
Please don't say your name is Martin. Please, I can't handle any more coincidences. Oh! My pardon. Emir Fitzroy, Esquire III.
I'm Emir Fitzroy, and I am terribly sorry for my clumsiness.
Nice to meet you, I think. Also, that name sounded fake. I wasn't sure why the thought came to me, but it just didn't seem to fit him.
You don't sound sure about that.
I'm not.
How cruel. Perhaps I should give another apology. I truly am sorry for inconveniencing you. Shall I get down on one knee again? Perhaps you prefer me groveling at your feet.
He started to lower himself again, drawing the looks of several nearby people. Why is he giving me such strong Elk Creed vibes? Am I alone in this? I'm just like... The Elk Creed vibes are strong with this boy. I grabbed his arm, tugging him back up. I'm not annoyed about that. It's not that big a deal to knock one tangerine on the ground. Please, just stop. No one is asking you to grovel. He laughed again, clearly amused by my distress. My God, what is wrong with this man?
I'm so glad I came today. I didn't expect to meet such an amusing person. Though you also haven't told me your name.
You haven't given me the chance. And I'm not here for your amusement. It's Morgan, all right? Happy?
Very. Morgan is a beautiful name. Very suited to such a beautiful lady.
Thank you. He unexpectedly took my hand and brought my fingertips to his lips, which were turned up on one side. A smirking grin that made me feel like he was definitely teasing me. Oh boy, this is gonna be bad for my heart, isn't it? I jerked my hand away, intending to, I don't know, tell him off or something. But his eyes went far away before I could speak. It was clear he was getting a message or something.
Oh. What a shame.
His gaze flicked back to my face and he smiled again.
As much as I would love to stay and chat with you a little longer, I'm afraid it's already time for me to go. It seems I've been discovered.
Yep. Well, you got away with it for a little bit. Discovered? What is that? He placed a finger to his own lips this time and winked at me. The smile still pasted on his face, though it felt like the mirth in it had evaporated.
I sneaked out of work to meet someone today, and it looks like my colleagues figured out where I am. If I don't hurry back soon, I'm afraid they'll cause quite the fuss about the whole thing. I feel a bit like a princess in a tower with the way they try to keep me all locked up in there working.
Yeah, I definitely got Princess in a Tower vibes from my brief interactions with you as well. I couldn't help but wonder just who he was. The way he said that made it seem like he was someone important. But it was hard to imagine him in any sort of important job. I hope before you go back, you get to meet up with whoever you wanted to meet.
I already met her.
He started away from the table quickly, glancing back just once.
I'll see you later, Morgan. I have a feeling we'll see each other again.
Oh, we will. We will. I didn't even get a chance to respond to him. He walked away so quickly. Within seconds, I lost sight of him in the crowd. I just stood there staring after him in confusion. What the heck was that about? I flopped back in my seat again, completely baffled by that entire interaction. This really was my week for meeting weird men, wasn't it? Girl, you have no idea. It wasn't long after that when my lunch arrived. I ate quickly, mentally going over what I intended to tell them when I stopped in to give my statement later on, and trying to forget my encounter with the odd blonde man. I just hope this statement doesn't take too long. I quickly finished up my lunch and decided to head home to drop off my bag, then work my way towards the address Mr. Kellner had given me. I was so focused on getting back that I wasn't paying much attention to my surroundings after that. Okay, probably... yeah, okay. Now we're going. Let's see. There shouldn't be anything else with Magnus after this. And we should just be getting closer to Endgame. So I'll skip ahead. If something changes, I'll bring you in, but otherwise, I'll see you in Endgame, I guess. Okay, we have made it to the interlude. So, let's reunite with Amir, shall we? I was aware of voices before I fully awakened. Two of them, masculine and speaking in low words that were a mere buzz. My head throbbed as I tried to work up enough saliva to swallow. Everything was hot. It felt like I was dying. But I couldn't die. There he is. I forced my eyes open and, through the haze, saw two people leaning over me. A broken, disordered series of images flashed through my mind. The car, the explosion, gunshots, a strange man with odd eyes. It wasn't a dream! The realization hit me and I let out an undignified shriek as I bolted upright. Where was I? I didn't know these people! In the back of my head, I did think they were vaguely familiar, but most prominent was the feeling of terror. I acted on instinct. The men jumped back, but I was already launching myself up and off the bed. I saw a blurry head of blonde hair try to duck away, but not before my elbow connected with it. Alright, I forgot you heard him.
Magnus!
He and I hit the ground at the same time, but I didn't stop. The other man came around the end of the bed, but I scrambled away. Have to get home. I burst through the door into a hall, my bare feet slapping against the tiled floor. Everything hurt, but I still ran. The people in the hall were blurs and colored blobs as I sprinted past. A few of them reached for me, but I shouted and staggered away from them. One was a blonde doctor who was just seconds too late to grab me. Where was I going? I didn't know. Outside, I hoped. I rounded a corner, almost toppling as I tried to make the sharp turn. My fingers brushed the floor as I steadied myself and continued to flee. Behind me, people were following. I ran past rows of chairs, stopping to pull some out and into the path. Why couldn't I find an exit? My head hurt so much. Spots swam in and out of my vision. Every memory and thought felt disconnected, discordant. There was only the vision of fractured rainbow light and the sound of everything crumbling around me. I bolted past door after door until I thought I would vomit. It was a maze with no way out. I turned down another corridor, confronted with a blurry dead end ahead. Safe. The voices behind me drew closer, so I veered into a room on my right and slammed my hand on a control panel to shut the door before shoving a bed across it. I made sure it was wedged against the inner lip so the door couldn't slide open easily. I wonder how Magnus will talk her out of this. No windows. No way out. I backed against the far wall, using it to lean against as I stared at the now blocked exit. Where had they taken me? Who had taken me? Someone tried to open the door. The bed made a horrific scrape as they pushed it back slightly. I grabbed a glass jar with swabs from a nearby counter and hurled it at the door. It shattered, and whoever was trying to come inside jerked the door back shut. Voices spoke right outside, one angry and one amused. I gripped my skull and slid down the wall with a soft groan. The voices argued, and I let my head drop against my knees. I remembered the rainbow room, the woman shooting at us, a man with strange eyes, but not much more. The man with strange eyes is still alive, just so everyone knows. I left Rory alive, because of course I did. How long had I been unconscious? And where was I now? Someone tried to open the door again, and I struggled to my feet to respond with another glass jar. Stay away! There were a few moments of silence. The door opened a few centimeters.
We're not going to hurt you.
I said stay away! I readied another glass jar just in case.
Out of curiosity, what will you do once you run out of jars?
I responded by throwing the one in my hand. The door slammed shut. But this time I heard laughter. Ugh. I hit the floor again, straining to hear what was being said outside over the roar of blood in my ears. I was so hot. Dizzy. My heart felt like it was about to explode. What should I do now?
So how long do you think this standoff will last?
The man with the amused-sounding voice.
She shouldn't be out of bed, awake or not, much less tearing through the hall screaming and throwing things. It's a wonder she can even move. At the last check, she was still running a high fever, and her blood pressure was very nearly at the level of hypertensive crisis.
That was a different voice, one I hadn't heard before.
What were you fools doing that she slipped past you anyway? Well, she woke up pretty damn suddenly. We weren't expecting her to bolt up and knock one of us out. She broke my glasses, too.
Sorry, Magnus. So now there were at least 3 people. The grumpy voice, the amused voice, and someone else.
You imbeciles. We need to get her out of there. At the moment, she seems intent on throwing something at anyone who opens the door. Am I supposed to believe that is enough to stop you lot of monsters?
A 4th voice broke in there.
If we startle her too much, she may...
There's my other boy. I couldn't keep up anymore. I shut my eyes, though it didn't stop the feeling of everything spinning like crazy. The voices faded to a dull murmur. After some time, I had a vague awareness of the door opening again. I scowled and jerked my head up. The movement sent my vision reeling, and I had to brace myself against the nearby cabinet to stay upright. The figures silhouetted in the door. They were... familiar. It was that blonde guy from before. Alright, and after this, I'm on my own again. Magnus's route? Yes. Hello. Sorry about the glasses. The man stood in the doorway briefly before stepping into the room. I couldn't see him clearly, but I was sure it was the blonde man from earlier. The one I'd hit in the head. Why did he seem familiar? Wait. I met him. His name was... Emily? Wait. No. That couldn't be right. Little Queen.
Do you remember me, Little Queen?
Stay away from me!
Sorry. That would be a bit of a problem since I have to talk you into returning to your room.
I struggled to my feet, keeping my back against the wall.
Are you sure you want to do that? You look very much like you're about to pass out.
Who are you? I met you, didn't I? Before?
You did. Do you remember my name?
Mir?
No, that's not right at all. You really have forgotten, haven't you?
I let out a low hiss of anger. That's what you told me your name was! He paused, tapping his chin thoughtfully.
Oh! You're right. I completely forgot. I apologize I couldn't be upfront with you at that time, but I'm Magnus Ulrich. Some say I'm the leader of Endgame.
Endgame. Wait. I faltered as a vague memory filtered back to me. An alley, a woman in white, a man named Ari.
Remembering now, you chose to come here with our agents.
He was close enough now that I could see his features through the haze. The blonde hair, the smug little smile. He stretched a hand out and I reacted instinctively. No! I pushed off the wall and launched myself at him. He staggered backwards, blocking my arm. I knew there wasn't much strength behind the attack. I just wanted to get past him, get out. I needed to go home. He caught my arm and stepped back.
No, I'm not...
He let out a surprising yell as something rolled away from us. Then he went sprawling, dragging me down with him. I landed against him with a painful thump and didn't move. This really is Corvin's route all over again. Just falling over, tripping all over each other. This is great. Ugh. Everything spun around me. I was hot and nauseous. And in pain. Magnus shifted beneath me.
Hello?
I tried to push myself up on shaking arms to glare at him. Please, I need to go home.
I'm afraid that's not possible. You very much agreed to come here yesterday.
His expression softened.
You really don't remember it, do you?
I don't know. My head hurts. My arms gave out again, and I just let myself fall back onto his chest. He slid an arm around me, stroking my hair. Aww.
I'm sure this is all frightening for you.
The amusement was gone from his voice as he whispered to me.
You're still very ill. When you're better, I can explain everything.
I don't want to be here.
I know.
After a few moments, he shifted out from under me, holding me so I didn't fall. What are you... Before I could finish, he lifted me very carefully into his arms. Ah, is it happening again? The Princess Bridal Carry? Is it happening?
We need to get you back to your room, but I'll stay by you. If you wake up and don't remember where you are, I'll explain it all to you once more. However many times it takes. Even if you hit me again.
Aw. That's very sweet. I didn't know what he was talking about. His voice sounded far away and faint, but soothing, and I let it lull me into blissful sleep. I was somewhat aware that he took me into the hall and spoke to other people there, and somewhat aware of being carried back to my room. But along the way I completely blacked out, and after that, I wasn't sure how long I slept. Through it all, I imagined a gentle hand holding mine, and a very soft voice talking to me and telling me I would be okay.